Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a late episode of The Good.
Game. Guys? Hey, Akari, drop the ball much?
Oh shit, did he die on us?
Oh, we might have. That's amusing.
that
Well, never mind then.
What?
Oh,
What?
there he is. Okay.
What?
Are you okay there, buddy?
I was busy having robot dick.
Oh, right, the vape. Well,
Oh
okay.
lord. Well,
So-
that's a hell of a way.
Right? Great way to start an otherwise, broken...
Do you want to get into it, or should I?
get into...
Just just some of the interesting little aspects of what's been going on with the show.
Oh, like why we're here late?
Yeah.
No, I think the bigger point is that we're here and we should just move right along.
All right, that's fair enough. Yeah,
Hi, people.
hopefully it is going on right now because I have Twitch up and it's continuing to say we're offline.
Mine's up. I mean, there's still the last broadcast thing up at the top, but it is showing live, so. And
Okay.
NPC has said in chat that he is here in spirit.
That's
Yeah.
good at least. Okay,
no,
yeah,
looks-
there it is.
We are live.
We are indeed live now. Awesome.
Well, I think we've been live for like I don't know, past minute or so.
Hey,
Maybe two.
at this point, I need to double check everything. Fucking A. But
That's probably a good idea. Usually, if you're not doing that normally, you're doing it wrong.
like this is the moment where I intensely have to look at it.
The moment.
Yeah, right. Oh man. So anyway, we are joined by our host, Dr.Captain.
Hey, I'm Dag.
I'm Doug.
Hey, look, a guest.
Oh, we have two Degs now. Oh shit.
No,
No. What?
he said Doug.
Did he?
Yes.
Okay, shit.
Idiot.
My mind's off somewhere. What can I say? Oh,
Uh,
fucking hell.
all right.
Look, I'm just glad we got this shit going up right now. So, in the spirit of all things, how about we start getting into some of the exciting games that we've actually been playing this week? Because we've done that.
Right. Well, maybe most of us have. Akari, have you done anything this week?
Yeah, I've been trying to find my Witcher medallion so I can run around Manhattan Beach and carve people up for tuppence.
Well, got to collect those mutagens, right?
Yep. Especially the really rare entitled bitch mutagen.
That's not very rare. I mean, we are talking about Southern California.
You tried
Right.
chasing one of them down.
I have a car.
Is his name Roach?
Not yet, but it could be. I don't know. I'd have to get like 2 or 3 more of the exact same model and call them all Roach.
Sounds about right.
Replacement Roach, if you will. Alright, well, fair enough.
All right,
Is that-
so
Yeah,
Yours too?
yeah. That's pretty much been the entirety of my week is playing the shit out of Witcher 3 and then the new expansion Hearts of Stone. Which, if you haven't gotten it, folks, you need to get it. It's really good.
Fair enough. I've got it, but I had a save game snafu, so I had to start all over.
Yeah, I heard about that, which sucks.
Yeah, well, it's all right. I just got to get the motivation to stream some more because that was next up on the plate. But like, meh,
Yeah, fair enough.
meh. I've also been playing an inordinate amount of World of Warships lately.
I actually managed to join in for a bit of that.
Yeah, you did. I've been doing some more destroyer gameplay, trying to figure out what makes them tick. I figure if you can't beat them, join them. So I've been learning about the difficulties of staying outside of concealment range while still firing, well-aimed torpedoes at people. And mistakes were made.
So hey, Dig,
Yo,
can I bring my drink?
um, no. Wrong game. No, no, no. God, no, not the Drake. But no, I've been dealing with the Isokaze and the Minakaze, which are the tier 4 and 5 Japanese ships,
Yeah.
and they've got, for their tier, they've got longer concealment ranges than their torp capabilities. So as long as I stay, inside of this small outside circle, I can
Yeah.
launch torps at people and hopefully hit them.
One can
Mistakes
hope.
were made. I actually posted a YouTube video a few days ago up on our YouTube
Yeah. If
of
you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's pretty goddamn funny.
what not to do in a kamikaze, which is basically like I'm in a
Be dagging.
destroyer, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty much like, all right, I'm not fully committed to this yet, but I may as well be because I'm lazy and I don't give a fuck. So it was basically more a matter of I'm gonna go and try and take on a cruiser and a battleship. Like the battleship was the big meaty target. I was hoping that my cruiser buddy was gonna handle the enemy cruiser buddy, until I realized that my cruiser buddy was a St. Louis and the enemy cruiser was an Omaha,
Oh.
tier 3 and 5 respectively.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I it was kind of magical. It was basically like a whole lot of nope followed by we're good.
More or less. More or less.
But like I did everything wrong just to show like what not to do. Like when you're puffing smoke, don't go full speed. When you're humping an island to stay out of a cruiser's firing arc, don't get out from behind the island. And if you're going to shoot at a cruiser, don't give your broadside to a battleship. But in this video, I did all of those and managed to survive somehow. The cruiser was an idiot. He was firing AP at me. It was like, oh, those shells just went right through me. I can bucket water out faster than I'll sink, so I'm good. If he was firing HE, that video would have ended differently. That video may not have ended up being a video.
Oh no, it would have been a video. It just would have been a video entitled Deg's Bloopers.
I don't have a blooper video, and I absolutely should.
You absolutely should.
Too bad, so sad.
We'll get around to it at some point, I hope.
Unfortunately, World of Warships does not currently support replays very effectively. I mean, there are options you can do to go enable replay saves, like in the back end, but they don't work right. And so you end up with some really wonky visual, like not actual artifacts, but like hints that this is a broken system, thus it's not in the game. But aside from that, I think that's oh right, Rebel Galaxy.
I was wondering when you were going to bring that shit up, dude.
I had forgotten for a brief period that I ended up getting a pre-release copy of that, and so I streamed it like a night or two before it was out. First impressions of the game have been fairly fun. Like it can get awfully repetitive awfully quickly if that's how you play it.
Okay.
But it's basically like I think the best way I can put it is it's like an arcade mode Elite Dangerous. Like it really feels like the old days Freelancer.
Okay.
There is no Z-axis that you can fly on, so you can't really go up and down.
Which honestly is kind of fine by me because you at least still have access to the range of turrets that you could add on to your ship.
Well, right. I mean, you've got your broadsides, your secondary turrets, shields, engines, like everything on your ship is basically upgradable. Plus, you can replace the ship itself, assuming you come up with ungodly amounts of money in a hurry.
Which, strangely, I haven't had that big of an issue with.
It's not that hard once you get out of the starting area, at which point you can basically like just cruise around with your jump drive, hope to not run into anything that'll one-shot you, and like pick up Tetrion salt for like $2,000 a pop, and then head back to the starting area and sell it for between 10 and 30 a pop, depending on your game seed.
Nice.
So I mean, like you can gather up money rather quickly. It's just a matter of like it's kind of boring to do.
Gotcha.
You know, like trading is obviously not very action packed,
No.
but the stress can be real. Even though when you die, it just reloads the last time you docked.
Hell, the
Gotcha.
stress can even just be real, just based on the different ranges of pirates that'll just try and encounter you as you're making your trade runs.
Well, sure, but I mean, if you're keeping a real close eye on your radar, your mini map, you can actually dodge them, assuming you're not headed straight for them by just turning away a little bit at sublight.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Death is not as big of a deal as it should be. You don't lose anything from getting stupid ballsy and attempting to go and handle threat level reds.
Okay.
I did that once.
There's really no reason not to give it a shot if you dock frequently anyway. It's like, all right, every time you dock, it autosaves, so it's really no big deal. I mean, if you're cruising around in a huge ship and you don't really dock very frequently, death serves as more of a time punishment as opposed to like a holy shit. There's a much larger risk involved,
Gotcha.
which is kind of okay, but it kind of makes the game feel really easy. Um, but the soundtrack for Rebel Galaxy is all uh, licensed stuff that they put in the game, so they just randomly attempted to make the game feel kind of like a space western with their sort of I'm not gonna quite say country or folk, but there's definitely country influences in the music that they use.
I was
Okay.
definitely getting a Firefly vibe off the whole thing just based on the soundtrack alone.
Right, and it really seemed like the point. And though they're not selling the soundtrack, it comes with all the MP3s. Like you just drill down the folders and you can copy those MP3s onto a disc or onto a flash drive and play it in your car,
Okay.
which is very, very, very dangerous. Because like Rebel Galaxy, you're expected kind of sometimes to fly like an asshole. And then when you're listening to the music when you're driving, it's like, oh sure, I can take this on ramp at 12 miles an hour. Here, let me just pitch it sideways for a minute.
Oh shit!
Oh, that other traffic doesn't matter. I'll just bump them and fly off. Oh, wait a minute.
Suddenly,
Yeah, right. Suddenly you're running away from the militia
oh
or
hell!
police.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
No, they're not.
You
Not
fucking
for
lying
coincidence.
No,
bastard!
Not
they're not. It's an
not-
insurance company. What a scam.
Oh man.
So
What
that
about
is,
you?
yeah, that is how my week has gone. How about you, Dr. Captain?
I'm not sure what else I can add with what you gave on Rebel Galaxy because you sold me based on just the concept alone that it actually felt like the modern day freelancer, as you so aptly put it.
Right.
And yeah, I've just been enjoying it outright. I kind of stopped for a little bit because I had a couple other games that have just caught my attention, but good God, that is a perfect time sink.
Right. It is absolutely a time sink, and from the launch, it was on sale for like $18. Like
Yeah.
the full value of the game's like 19.99. So it's really like if you don't have it yet, grab it. It's still currently up for 17.99.
I was definitely disappointed to find out that it was single player, but within reason why that is the case.
Well, yeah, it's two guys developing the game. It's just impossible for two guys to make this game multiplayer.
I still would love to see eventually later on down the lines if they could try and turn this something into more of a multiplayer. Like, I think that would have been perfect.
Nah, it would require a much larger team, and both of them have gone on record saying that they don't want to work with large teams anymore.
Hmm.
I mean, keep in mind, this is coming from a couple of guys that have worked on, like, the Torchlight series and the Diablo series.
Oh, okay.
So, one from one series, one from another. And they basically got together. It's like, yo, I'm real sick of being on a team. The other one's like, yeah, me too, let's team up.
Torchlight guy has joined your party.
Right. Right.
Oh man, but
Like Eric and Travis's first game. Like,
but yeah, just an example to serve as how much of a time sink that was. I started playing that the night we first, or rather, I first picked it up, and I think that was just after we finished playing World of Warships, Doug.
Uh-huh. But
Uh,
you only played it for like an hour before you got into, what, GTA 5?
well, after I got into GTA 5, which I'll get into later on because there's some relevancy to it, um, I stopped and then got back into Rebel Galaxy,
Uh-huh.
which I want to think was about 1 p.m., right? Or not 1 p.m., 1 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And before I knew it, the sun was suddenly coming up.
That's usually the sign of a good game.
Yeah.
That is the sign of a good game.
Like a sign of a good game is like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and play this for an hour, and the next thing you know, like 10 hours has passed, and you're starting to digest yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like that's usually the sign. Like, oh man, this game has been more important to me than food.
And by all means, like this is the type of game I would definitely be glad to sink time into, especially when I need to listen to like other podcasts to get some different news that goes on within the week,
All right.
or just for entertainment value. Like me, I'm always the kind of person that loves to put up a movie in the background when I can when I play games. This is definitely the game I would do that. So I
Fair
mean,
enough.
this is my full-on endorsement. People, go pick up Rebel Galaxy.
Right.
I think Deg is safely on board with the idea of fully endorsing this game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And frankly, like the developers will talk to you. Like you can hit them up on Twitter, or randomly pop into Rebel Galaxy streams, and at least one of them will be there. So you'll effectively be talking to half of their company, and they will respond to you. They'll talk to you. Like their community involvement is fantastic. You may not always get the answers that you want because they're people.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you got questions or whatever, you can always pop a tweet over to Rebel Galaxy or... Shit, what was Eric's... Shit, I tweeted him... I forgot the other Twitter. But, like, at Rebel Galaxy is all you really need.
Yeah, just let me know after the show. I'll post it up in the description.
Alright, that'll work.
Like, but anyway, yeah. Like, final note on Rebel Galaxy. I fully endorse it. You people should pick it up.
Yeah, it's totally worth, $18.
Now, moving on to the what I mentioned earlier with Grand Theft Auto. Now, the reason why I actually started picking up Grand Theft Auto again is that they recently did the Lowrider update.
Oh, was that one of the DLCs that they popped out?
Yes, and what it does is that it brings in a lot more lowriders, as the title suggests, with some missions that Lamar gives you.
Huh.
Yeah, and they bring out a whole new mechanic scheme for lowriders because you could straight up full on pimp out, and I just showed how white I can get with that.
Right.
But like just straight up like deck out your lowrider with like different hydraulics, rad as shit fucking paint schemes. God, what the fuck else? Like these things are meant to be show off cars essentially, and
Okay, so it's car porn, the DLC.
pretty much
Gotcha.
with the addition of having like some Lamar missions, which has been pretty fun.
I didn't really care much for Lamar.
See, here's the thing though, that you kind of have to appreciate Lamar a little bit because when you apply him to TKO, they really are the same
Boy.
person.
Oh boy.
That is actually not something I want to think about. I mean, I could, and it would probably be accurate, but I do not want.
No, I'll say it up front. It's fucking accurate as hell. Like Lamar and TKO are the same people. Like I'm wondering if Rockstar has been following him around to basically understand Lamar.
Nah, TKO's not that ghetto. You might wish he was, but he isn't.
Ooh. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else to really say to it other than that it's out for the PC and the later consoles. Apparently, what they wound up doing is skipping out the 360 and PS3 versions of Grand Theft Auto.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. But people are in an uproar about it, so whatever.
Whatever.
Get a better computer, damn it.
Well, right. I mean, like, you really can't hold companies responsible for not producing games for your, 8-year-old console.
Mm-hmm.
Time to go and get a new one. Sorry. Like,
apparently they, I don't know if we necessarily covered this on the show, but they also added in another thing with Grand Theft Auto that I thought was worth noting. It's a little dated at this point, but they're actually adding in a lot more like free roam activities now.
Well, it's about damn time.
Yeah, like there's a random pot or random little activities that'll come up, like who can make the highest jump in their car, or who can what is it deliver this packet or pick up this package and deliver it to X point. Effectively playing like a really intense game of tag because hey, they can shoot you.
Oh shit.
Yeah. There's even a mode that's called Feed the Beast, where apparently this one person is like like a full-on werewolf,
Oh boy.
and he can't get in cars, but he's powerful and he's faster than everyone else.
All right. Is he
Uh,
faster than cars?
Yes,
Oh Jesus.
Wow.
How? You know what? No.
it's a
Let's
fucking
just rattle
werewolf,
off.
dude.
You,
So
you just jumped the shark. Next topic.
Yeah.
moving right along. Okay, so the other game that I have actually picked up that I've enjoyed at least. I don't know if my co-hosts here are too big on similar type games,
On what?
on sim type games,
Like,
like Sim City, if you will.
um, not really.
Yeah.
More
I'm
tycoonish, I
actu-
guess. Actually.
I actually am.
Okay.
Well,
There's-
like SimCity hasn't been good for a while.
Well, yeah.
Right. We're talking like SimCity-esque, like Anno 2070, Banished, stuff like that.
Oh, you know what? I think I have played Banished. At least a little of it.
Okay.
I
If you...
couldn't get past Winter. Winter sucks.
Yeah, Winter does fucking suck.
Winners.
Okay, so I have another game out there that you might be interested in, then, Ikari. It's called Planet Base.
Uh-huh.
And it's an awful lot like how Banished is kind of set up, except you're establishing a colony on different planets.
Uh-huh.
And so far, they have just 3 planets. They first start you off on Mars. Like, they don't call it Mars, but let's be honest, it's Mars.
Okay.
And what you basically just have to do is just establish a colony within it.
Hmm.
And you could full on just basically set it up to be like its own kind of a. I don't know if I comfortably want to say starport, because isn't that more something that you have outside the planet?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't really have a starbase on ground.
Yeah, but you could actually effectively, turn it into like a sort of a city in itself.
Uh-huh.
Not to the full extent that I'd like.
What? So, like, you're basically building a biodome or something?
Pretty much. But unfortunately, kind of how it works out is that each little room that you build up is like its own dome.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
But the other thing that I do kind of have that I want to critique about the game is that I do dislike how I can't terraform the planet.
Well,
Which you imagine, if we're going to play like a super sci-fi type of game, I would like to think at a certain point, like my technological advancements would allow me to do that.
uh, maybe not. Maybe not.
I think Akari's got something
I,
to say, but go ahead.
I would say quite possibly, but at that point, that would pretty much be breaking the fundamental mechanics of the game, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, like, you're building domes, so it's not like you're gonna have a big industrial facility in which you're building fucking Mars caterpillars or whatever.
I guess that's fair. But regardless, no, the game itself is pretty fun. Like I said, like essentially establish like different types of domes for like the different rooms that you need. Like you have your God, what would you call it? Like the greenhouse area. You have like your rest area. You've got your oxygen generator, and you have to power them up. So you have to build up like solar powered little like tablets.
Like solar panels.
Yeah, solar panels, as well as like your other option for power is like wind turbines,
Huh.
which is really helpful on Mars, and the other second planet, which is just basically a completely ice covered planet,
Oh,
and that's the one I'm focusing on right now.
interesting.
Yeah, the planets are based on like the difficulty setting. Like Mars is the easiest.
Oh, I see.
But you have to unlock the planets by completing the milestones within the starter planet.
Okay.
And the milestones are like, establish yourself, get 100 colonists to come to your place. Stuff like
Don't-
that.
Don't die.
Yeah, don't die. I've had to find myself restarting a couple of times just because I didn't anticipate that I might need more water or water filters.
Oops.
to generate more air.
Rip.
Yeah. Um,
So you forgot to feed your plants, and then your plants died, and then everybody else died.
Everybody else died and starved because plants are how you get food. Well,
Well, that
okay,
makes sense.
there's also the laboratory as well that allows you to build up synthetic food meat as well as like your medical supplies.
Soylent
Uh
Green.
huh.
Yeah, Soylent Green, effectively.
Right, right. We're just eating the corpses of the fallen.
Tastes like Aunt Edna.
Like, endurance makes me special, yo. Flesh of the living.
I've even meant you could even go as far as to like establish like a bar even.
Well, what kind of? I wouldn't want to be in this series of biodomes without having at least a bar every
5
20
feet.
or 30 feet. Yeah. Five's kind of pushing it. Like if the bar itself is not at least 5 feet, then it isn't a bar.
Right.
Well, no,
And
every 5 feet is another stool.
And that's just like an example of like some of the stuff that you can build up. You can even build up like robots to even help like do mundane tasks like carry some of the supplies to and from, or construct, or even do like the mining operations that you do need to get resources to build structures.
SCV good to go.
Pretty much.
All right.
Um, and it's kind of fun with how they throw in some threats that you don't necessarily kind of see coming as well. Like some of the threats that you run into in the first planet. Now, recently they actually kind of fixed this, but when I first played this, one of the threats you have to worry about is solar flares,
Lol.
Okay.
which you don't want to have your people outside of when that's happening because they get irradiated.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. Apparently, though, with some of the latest patches, they went ahead and took out the solar flare warning for the first planet because they thought it was hard. I didn't really think it was that hard myself.
Did they keep it on the second and third planet?
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, okay.
Because, and I didn't get to the third planet yet because I have yet to play it, but what it is, it's basically one of the moons on Titan.
Okay.
Or not Titan, sorry, Saturn.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Titan is the moon,
Titan,
yes.
Titan is, in fact, the moon
Yeah.
of Saturn. Good job there. Yeah.
Right. Well, one of the moons.
One of them.
Well,
Actually, fact checking. Is it Saturn or Jupiter?
Titan is Saturn.
Okay. Because I'm trying to remember what was the moon on Jupiter we were thinking actually could sustain life.
I mean, Saturn has a lot of moons.
yeah.
Like a lot of moons.
Yeah.
18, I think.
No, there's more.
Well, at that point, we're getting into classification questions. You know, what constitutes a moon? Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Then we'll say named objects, of which there are 53.
Yeah.
Like there are 62 moons with confirmed orbits.
I'm sure we have someone that majors in astrology in the chat room, hopefully.
Or somebody
Maybe.
who majors in Wikipedia.
Right. That works too.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, like that's one of the common threats that you'll run into. One of the more interesting ones that are randomly generated is going to be the occasional meteor strike,
Okay.
which you do need to build up later on down in your expansions, if you will.
It
You need
needs
to
laser beams.
yes, a laser beam. You need to build a
God-
laser beam to protect yourself.
God damn it.
Well, there went the interest for this game. Let's move right along.
Really, the laser beam was the one that killed it for you?
Pretty much. Laser beam. No thanks.
I say it's still worth it. Like, by all means, check it out if you're into that type of game where you like to build up your own colony.
Right.
Give it a look over.
Yeah, I'll give it a once over once I get back into my sci-fi kick.
Right.
The last thing I do want to get into would be Vermintide.
Uh
Oh dear.
oh. Vermigerd. Vermiturd.
And let me go and just before I do that, I've figured out a new feature here, folks. I now have
see
it. I now have it so that you can see what current topic that we're going on. So
Right.
please stop bitching at me.
Lol. It's too bad you don't know how to center it.
Eh.
The bitching will continue until morale improves.
No, but anyway, yeah, I had a chance to. I went ahead and picked up Vermintide along with Planet Base, and I've been having some fun with it.
All right.
I've had at this point I've managed to play every single class, and I can safely say there is a difference between them. Mostly just with what they can be equipped with, though.
Uh huh.
So far, it seems like the Witch Hunter is the only one that has something of a special ability to him. Because what he does, he's mostly focused on having like flintlock pistols,
All right.
and one of the weapons he takes with him is a rapier.
Uh huh.
Sure.
So with his rapier, he's able to actually fire off 16 shots with his flintlock while holding the rapier.
What?
That's
Yeah,
kind of impressive and bullshit.
Like, how many flintlocks is he carrying?
as a
Hollywood
grand total
Reload.
with that,
Hollywood Reload.
no, it's not. It's not reload. It's actually just like he's carrying a maximum of like 43 as the ranged weapon.
Well, sure. But I mean, like, a flintlock is basically one and done unless you want to spend a couple minutes reloading it.
Hence the
So, I
Hollywood
mean, like,
Reload.
how many of these guns has he got strapped up and down his chest and legs and back and...
43.
He looks like Il Duce from Boondock Saints.
No,
He
not
only
even.
had 6. This guy has 43.
Yeah.
This guy's carrying more than a full military load. Just in guns.
Well, okay. Well, be fair here. This guy's going up against a Skaven, and Dag, I
Whatever.
think
Consider each pound is gonna be, or each gun is gonna be like 6 pounds.
you know that probably would explain why his moving animation feels so damn slow. Is because he's weighed down so much by fucking flintlock pistols.
You would be too. Not to mention the fact that you have to make sure that, oh my god, the ball bearing doesn't roll out.
Oh God.
Right. I mean, that's like 260 pounds of guns.
Oh man, but basically to kind of get more into the plot of the situation. So how it works out, and this is me just kind of playing based on the beta. In fact, the game actually just came out today, so every campaign is out. I will indeed be trying that shit out after the show.
Uh-huh.
So feel free to join me.
Played the new stuff.
No, not what was released today,
All right.
because I had the show to prepare for.
Right.
So yeah, the cool thing is that what it is, Skaven are invading the town that you're currently residing in, and
Goddamn rats!
yeah, Dag, you want to go ahead and give a quick recap to those that aren't too versed in Warhammer Fantasy on what the Skaven are?
Skaven are speed bumps.
Accurate.
I'm not even mad. That's true.
I'm not sure I have a better way to put it. Like Skaven aren't a huge threat until you get overwhelmed. But for the most part, like the clan rats, the slaves, all that sort, like the underlings, there are going to be a lot of them on a field, but they're not going to produce much risk. Like they're speed bumps. They just slow you down.
Yeah, I can say that's kind of the feeling I get when I go through the game because that's kind of how it is. Like to quickly generalize how the game works, it definitely feels like it's the Warhammer Fantasy meets the Left 4 Dead title.
That's exactly what it is.
And, you know, I enjoy it because I enjoy the Left 4 Dead formula because it's fun to at least get a group of 4 friends together and just go straight on kicking ass, essentially.
Sure.
That's
sure.
part of even why...
We're getting absolutely stomped and then blaming each other.
That's happened a few times. Oh, fuck.
Right.
But going into it, like, okay, so the first campaigns that they managed to start you off with when I started playing it was the first mission is that you have to reach the town watch center to basically blow off the horn to alert the rest of the city, right?
Sure.
Right.
Because they're being invaded.
Sure.
And it's interesting how it kind of goes on with it because it actually kind of fills in with the objectives that Left 4 Dead kind of did. Let's see, how do I articulate this right? Because along the way when you get there, you kind of, in the first mission itself, you kind of like run into this particular barricade that you have to blow up with powder kegs.
Right.
So you have to go to a certain point to pick up powder kegs, one at a time, unfortunately. But yeah, all at the while you're being swarmed out by the fucking Skaven at that point.
Obviously
Right.
not if you got 47 guns strapped to your chest. Just drop them all and carry the powder keg. Problem solved.
What if you can carry 260 pounds of guns? You can carry fucking barrels of powder as well.
Oh man, do you think a dwarf would be able to even do that?
A dwarf?
I'm legit curious.
Suppose it really depends.
Depends. Is the dwarf using a catapult?
No, unfortunately not.
Did the dwarf use strength as his dump stat?
But yeah, I mean, there's little certain objectives that you kind of run into with some of the maps that I've tried out so far, and that's one of the examples right there is that you have to basically carry powder kegs to destroy a barricade to continue on with your quest to reach this horn.
Okay.
And from there, like some of the other missions, like I said, do sort of the same thing where you have like your certain objectives to reach your end goal, which I do enjoy.
Sure.
Like, if there's one criticism I've always kind of had with Left 4 Dead is I never really felt like there was much to kind of go out and do aside from reach the save point. And yeah, they got the certain events where you have to like start up the generator in order to lower the bridge so you can get to the save point. But aside from that, I always felt like there needed to be like a little bit more objective to it.
Well,
Alright.
there's a difference between objectives that are mindless repetition and objectives that are engaging and interesting.
Right.
The best example that I could think of an example of the former would be uh, like the 13th time you have to do a fucking physics puzzle in Half-Life 2 just to
Mm-hmm.
get up to that ledge. It's like, yes, you've made a physics engine with seesaw and weights. Very great. Well done. Can we actually get more gain now, please?
Yeah,
Fair enough. Fair enough. And the answer is no. We're making enough money with Steam that we don't ever need to work again.
and like I was getting into, that's kind of the thing I do at least enjoy so far. Like, for now, they at least actually do have a variety of different objectives that you have to do
Uh-huh.
for the most part. Like, they still are more holdout oriented,
Okay.
but I still haven't played the rest of the game,
Right.
because beta only let me do 3, 4 missions.
All right.
Sure. And to be fair, most of those seems more like they were a horde mode with a couple of like back and forth objectives.
Yeah, no, there definitely was a fair share of that going on with the first couple.
And that has never really been terribly interesting to me.
Yeah, agreed.
I gotta be real. Like it's just like, oh look, it's Left 4 Dead with a Warhammer skin on it. I'll pass.
To be fair, though, the one thing I do at least enjoy with the idea that it's just a Warhammer skin is just that it focuses more on the melee aspect than it does on the ranged.
Well, that's reasonable.
Like,
Like that does change the tone of the entire game,
mhm.
but not enough to really make it stand on its own unless the swordplay is fucking fantastic. Like Chivalry had fantastic swordplay and it still barely stood on its own.
I'm not sure I could comfortably compare it to Chivalry's swordplay, but I
Well, of
feel it's
course not.
close.
Nah, I'm not even.
Chivalry swordplay was pretty goddamn intense good.
Right. I mean, like, Chivalry's swordplay was the next big thing in melee weapons play in gaming since that old ass game Die by the Sword.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll go ahead and move on to kind of get into the different characters. Now, I've kind of touched up on the Witch Hunter for a little bit. The other characters that we have is an elf, wood elf specifically, because apparently in the fantasy setting, there's actually different types of elves.
Yep.
Yeah, there's arrogant and snot nose arrogant. I'm sorry, did I say what?
Elves in a nutshell here, folks.
Pretty much.
And she's about exactly as you expect. Like, her main focus is the bow, which she's probably, like, the best person to really play as a ranged individual, because she has more arrows on her to just basically whip out.
You know, you really have to wonder if like there was ever like elf awareness. Like, my God, why do you have to be so stereotypical? Maybe I don't want to have to use a fucking bow and arrow. Fine.
Maybe I'd rather use a gun. Maybe it's easier. Ugh, you don't know me.
You stupid round ears.
I wonder if elves had their own version of Tumblr.
Elves are Tumblr. What are you talking about, Dag? Think about it.
Just
Fair.
because they're Tumblrinas doesn't mean they actually use Tumblr.
Bullshit. Bull fucking shit, okay?
Whatever, Tumblrina.
Die, round ear scum.
You cis-eared shitlord.
And there went half of our followers.
Oh, whatever.
Oh,
They weren't- nothing of value was lost.
if they were offended by that shit, I'm glad we lost them. Fuck them. Fucking elf posers. Elfkin. Fuck you.
Oh, man.
I'm an elf IRL, excuse me, sir.
So let's just move right along.
Okay,
'cause
so-
we're getting like pretty
Yeah,
long
let me-
in the
let me-
tooth with this particular.
Let me breeze through the rest of the character cast. So there's the elf, there's the dwarf. There's the guardsman who kind of focuses more on the long range melee weapons and the heavier melee weapons and the more heavier range weapons like muskets.
Okay.
And there's the one character that's probably the most interesting. I think Dag, you can back me up on this one. The Burn Mate.
Oh, the Bright Wizard?
The Bright Wizard. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. All right. What can I back up? I haven't played the game.
Well, I remember you were talking when you were described with the Bright Witch. You said the one thing that's interesting about the Bright Wizard is just basically like her range method is just basically focus on magic, right?
Oh yeah, like she's slinging fireballs everywhere. But the interesting thing to me, did they actually implement the overload mechanic?
Yes.
Nice.
Go ahead and
like,
explain that.
So like you're shooting fireballs, you're shooting fireballs, you're shooting fireballs. As your overload increases, so does your damage. But you kind of got to be real careful about the balance on it. Like, historically speaking, Warhammer Fantasy, and I'm assuming Vermintide, if they actually, brought the mechanic in. The Bright Wizard's Overload is basically like an Orc Shaman's Wog. If you end up with too much, your head will explode.
And that has happened a few times with the Bright Wizard I have had.
There's so much power coursing throughout your veins that you can no longer contain it. Like hypertension to the millionth degree.
Like the other thing that I thought was interesting about it that I learned later on after when I finished playing the Bright Wizard, so they do actually allow you to cool off after a while, and that's their reload mechanic for it. But the thing is that once you pass a certain point, you actually start taking damage from cooling off. Like you're releasing too much magic.
Well, yeah, absolutely, as it should be. Here's my real curiosity as to whether or not the Bright Wizard is truly useful or just a gimmick.
Go for it.
Are you able to self-sacrifice when you're completely surrounded and try and overload as much as you possibly can, thus turning yourself into a satchel charge?
I'll be honest, I haven't tried that yet.
You probably should. It would be amusing as shit to see if the Bright Wizard could actually be a Bright Martyr.
Oh man, I'm sure that could be easy with some of the staff pickups. And speaking of pickups, I want to go ahead and get into a little bit that we have some news in regards to Vermintide.
Really? We have news? It's not just you expounding on your games?
Yes.
Right?
So the cool thing is that the developers for Vermintide, Fat Shark, I believe, has actually gone out to say that they do promise that they will actually be DLC for the game. So what I think would be kind of cool is to see like some of the different factions, like maybe get like a Lizardman in there.
Well, they're saying that they're going to have both free and paid DLC.
Yep.
And the thing that I like the most about the announcement is that they're making sure that the free and paid DLCs are built in a manner that neither really split the player base. Because we've been seeing a lot of DLCs that are basically like have or have nots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Destiny would be the perfect example. Like, oh, you don't have the DLC. Well, we're just going to lock you out of content that you've already paid for. Like, hopefully Fat Shark has learned a lesson from that.
Now, here's the thing that does kind of worry me, because the inner cynic pops out.
Of course.
Because they along with their promise of actually having DLC along with the game, is that they are supposedly promising that there will be no microtransactions for this game whatsoever.
Which kind of rolls over into our next segment about Payday 2.
Well, not only just that, but like here's the other thing that does kind of get into the game itself, is that the thing that I do enjoy about this is that you actually kind of feel rewarded for completing a campaign. See, what initially happens is at the end of the game is that you roll dice to get a new equipment.
Right.
Which ranges from like a common weapon to it kind of actually a good way to explain it would be something akin to what Warcraft does, where you have your whites, your greens, and your blues.
Okay. So you've got your differing levels of rarity and thus power.
Yep.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about like the different rarities of some of these weapons is that they actually do have additional stats that go along with it. Like one that I have is supposed to like increase the knockback for my Warhammer. So basically, rats will start tumbling backwards as I, bash them on the head.
Right.
So here's the thing, though, that I was actually thinking about is I figured this game would probably benefit the most from actually doing microtransactions because they implemented this reward system.
Yeah, but fuck that.
Fuck. Not only fuck that, that would just be a very, very easy case of pay to win.
I'm not straight up saying I support it. I'm saying that
Oh
I get
no,
the
no, absolutely not. And I
That you
understand
can
what you're.
totally see it coming if these people are about as ethical as Overkill slash Starbreeze.
mm-hmm.
And
And
that's a real worry, given that Overkill slash Starbreeze have implemented microtransactions into Payday 2.
okay, so let's go ahead and start getting into that.
So Payday 2, I originally was a big proponent of Payday 2. I thought Payday 2 was basically Payday 1 with more fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was a step in the right direction. But then came over $100 of useless DLC that sort of split the player base as far as like, oh, I can do this mission, whereas, you can't. There are weapons in the game that you can only get through purchasing DLCs. And now they've introduced microtransactions, and it's basically along the lines of, oh, at the end of the game, you got a random lockbox that you can't open without paying real-world money into a drill that opens it but then dies. At first, I was amused, because Payday 2 finally introduced drills that don't break.
Mm-hmm.
They actually do their job. But then I was incredibly offended, because these loot boxes that you get, you know how you get card drops at the end of Payday 2 and you get rewarded with random weapon mods or weapons or masks or clown shoes.
Yep.
So you end up with this lockbox that you can't, open this loot, quote unquote, reward that you don't actually get unless you pay money into the system. Here's the bigger deal for me. Overkill introduced microtransactions despite Almir's post back in 2013 saying that they would never introduce microtransactions.
And as I recall, he was pretty adamant. They were pretty adamant about that at the time.
They were very clear that microtransactions were never going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was one of the reasons why they wanted to, or one of the things that they wanted to do to differentiate themselves from shit like CS:GO and what have you, where they have these weapon boxes that you can purchase and keys to purchase, and they were saying no, we don't want to be another one of those.
Now remember, CS:GO gets by on it because it doesn't change any of the stats, it just gives you new skins for your weapons or whatever. Payday 2 has gone pay to win. Mm-hmm. Because the skins that come out of these loot boxes adjust the stats of the weapons.
Now, here's my question, because let's say I want to do a pay to win scheme. Is it just these one-use drills that you can purchase, or can you also in fact purchase these locked boxes?
You can indeed purchase the lockboxes as well through the Steam Marketplace.
And there went all my respect for Overkill.
Furthermore, it's still a random chance of getting what you're actually after.
Oh, sure.
So, say you've got, like 20 of these boxes, and then you're gonna need 20 drills. Well, each drill is what, like $2 or $3?
Mm-hmm.
So you're paying, $40 to $60 for 20 of these drills. You're not guaranteed to get anything you can even really use. Well, let's pay full retail for a random chance. And Overkill has basically gone into, let's see if we can pull in some gambling addict whales.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing the YouTube videos of people on Twitch that spend their entire paycheck on this shit, don't get what they want, and then promptly rage quit the stream.
Right. Now, all of this is pretty old news. Like, this happened,
last week.
A week ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, we even talked about it somewhat to an extent. We had Neon come on to basically, show his bleeding heart over the whole situation.
Right. So what they've done now, I mean, obviously they received backlash for this,
Oh,
and
full on, even from us.
frankly, the backlash was not undeserved and
Yeah,
also entirely predictable.
yeah.
Like you don't do this thing to a game that you have already said that you weren't going to do this thing to.
Well, it's a case of you lied.
Right. I mean, we all know that microtransactions are video game cancer.
Yeah. Uh, but I mean, the only thing that I can hope for is that they take a page from the book of Bethesda Studios. I'm looking at you, Steam, and your Skyrim mods, and
Yeah.
say, this is a really bad idea. Maybe we should unimplement this.
Yeah, no, that's not what they did. In fact, what they did was extending a broken, fucking withered up, dry ass olive branch that if you grab onto, I hope you enjoy your falling into hell. Um, what they've done is that they've now activated drills as part of the card loot drop reward system. So, like at the end of the game, you might get a chance of acquiring a drill to open these boxes. Um, Yeah, so this is really not anywhere close to a complete reversal, especially given that the drops are completely random.
Well, no, I
So
meant
it's
where they realize that maybe we shouldn't do this, and they just decide somewhere down the line, hopefully within the next week or two or three, they decide, yeah, maybe we're just gonna yank that out of the system entirely.
So, here's the thing that I kind of want to bring up, though, is that I'm wondering, since we focus mostly on the whole promise aspect, I agree full heartedly that they broke that promise. However, here's the question that I've always been kind of asking when this first introduced. And forgive me for being a little tinfoily here, but I really have to wonder, did Steam or just Valve themselves manage to like strong arm them into possibly going into this, seeing as how they've been lately pushing a lot of stuff to participate in the Steam marketplace?
no,
Uh,
Valve has nothing to do with the publishing of this. Valve is a distribution platform.
well, Valve is a distribution platform that has its fingers in damn near every fucking pie. I mean, if there's cards involved with your game, Steam gets a portion of the proceeds from the trading of the cards on the marketplace.
That's
Of
right.
course.
I see where Captain's going with this. My answer would be probably not. My justification for this answer would be Steam is swimming in money, medkits, ammo, bottle caps, gold crowns, orange florins, every other kind of currency you could ever think of in any video game, real life or otherwise.
Right.
Why would they need to push this on just one game?
Well, what?
Even one game franchise, no matter how successful it might be.
Well,
Right.
so here's
This
the
this
thing, though.
feels more like a decision of Starbreeze, not so much a decision of Valve.
Well, actually, I got to hold you off there because I'm not saying that it is just a decision based on one game alone. Because we do have other games that aren't necessarily Valve titles that participate within the Steam marketplace in themselves. Just to pull up a
Sure.
list right now, we have Battle Blocks Theater, H1Z1, Path of Exile.
I'm
Of
waiting to hear
course.
a game that matters.
Right.
Okay,
Uh,
Warframe, Rust.
okay,
Still
so
waiting to hear of a title that matters.
here's where I'm looking at it and understand that this is coming from my business accounting, totally financial side of things. This isn't Steam trying to push this on them to make more money. Steam doesn't give two shits one way or the other if you decide whether or not you're going to introduce microtransactions. This is overkill and and
Starbreeze.
Starbreeze deciding we want to be able to push as much profit as we can on our financial statements. Here's a really, really easy way to do this.
Right. And sadly, people keep putting money into it. And
Yeah,
Seawall asked in chat if microtransactions are the cancer of gaming, what is the chemo? The chemo is your wallet. Don't buy it.
yeah,
Start putting up negative reviews.
yeah. Start putting up negative reviews. Just, I wouldn't go so far as to say badmouth it. Just give your honest, outraged opinion on this to those that that play this game, and you know who knows, maybe somebody will step back and go, you're absolutely right, fuck those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And hopefully if they receive enough, fuck
That
those guys sorts of responses, they won't do it again. But until that point happens, as long as there are gamblers out there.
Oh yeah.
Dan still wants that T-shirt that we talked about, Dag. The Uncle Dag says, "Vote with your wallet." we we still seriously should make that a thing.
Oh god.
If only at least for you, Dag.
Right.
Oh man, but anyway, yeah, I think that kind of covers a lot of it. Like,
Right. Payday 2 has gone from a great little time sink to I
A
don't
not
even
so
want
great
this.
money sink.
Yeah, like I don't even want this cancer installed on my system anymore.
the way I look at it, like, just at least from their reaction, I suppose you should say, or rather their response to the backlash. You know what? I'm at least going to be happy for the gesture that they were willing to at least compromise for the fandom. It sucks. I'm still a little salty about it, but the gesture's nice. Please do better next time.
It's not a big enough gesture. It's
Yeah,
too little, too late.
like I said, do better.
It's too little, too late. There's not going to be a next time unless they do better now.
Anyway,
So speaking of Steam,
Lol.
right. Who wants to go ahead and take this one?
I'll go ahead and take it. So, to all of you out there, all two of you who play on Steam and have a Mac, I'm sorry. And apparently so is Gabe Newell. Because the people who have pre-ordered Steam's or Valve's Steam Link or their Steam controller found out, we're kind of sorry guys, but this doesn't work with your Macs.
These are not quite as Mac
As
compatible as they were advertised.
Yeah, as we thought. um, the An email was sent to users on the 16th stating that the company is doing, quote, everything we can to resolve the issues, end quote, but unfortunately a estimated time of completion is not available.
Right.
So Steam, being the magnanimous, benevolent overgods that they are, decided that for the delays in providing full functionality of the back platform of Steam Link, they have decided to give these people the Valve Complete Pack, which is every single game that Valve has made.
Not just the complete pack, mind you. They've also offered refunds for the hardware, while letting you keep the complete pack. As an apology, this is the right way to go.
Yeah. As an apology goes, this is top notch. As a situation goes, you would have thought somebody in QA would have said, this really isn't working with OS X 10. Maybe we should look into this, guys. Nah, it'll be fine. Just push it out in time for relaunch.
Right.
Video game publishers and hardware developers are notorious for being shameless about pushing back release dates, stuff like that. I remember when Skyrim came out when Skyrim was in the hype stages and everything like that, and they decided we're going to put out a launch date of November the 11th, 2011.
Right.
It's going to launch on this day. And I remember sitting back going, that is a ballsy fucking statement to make, considering how much, this isn't like making a movie or a TV show where it's,
Right. It's not already done yet.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Bethesda learned from that one.
They did?
they didn't officially announce Fallout 4 until they were within like 3 or 4 months of a potential release date.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Never
And
mind the hype. The what was it? An April Fool's joke or the prank that was released some months before?
right, right. But they did eventually announce it. They did announce a release date, and there was a tweet they put out saying that everything is complete, right on schedule for their what November 10th release date.
Yes.
So they learned. It took them a while.
Yeah.
It took them,
Um,
but they figured it out.
so getting back to the story at hand, the
Right.
return period for the Steam Link, if customers so choose to want a refund on it, has been extended from the 30 days normally that is allowed and extended towards consumers of this product to a 60-day extension period.
Right. Which effectively tells me that they may not have a fix within 60 days.
It tells me that they reasonably believe they will have a fix within 60 days, but not within 30.
Right.
Um, Furthermore, this also tells me that at least one head is going to be rolling, if not more,
Oh,
in
sure.
quality control, as well as lead programming.
Sure. Well, it's either heads are going to be rolling or they're finally going to be paying QA to use Max,
I
which
think
frankly is something that they would have to
I'm
pay me to do.
honestly, I feel it would probably be cheaper just to have the heads roll.
That's fair. I mean,
I mean,
considering a gaming capable Mac is
cost less than Guild.
well, sure, but costs more than a new car.
Um,
I'm exaggerating, obviously.
yeah, which is kind of interesting because I really wonder how many of these people that have ordered the Valve the Steam Link don't how many of these games they already have. Like, yes, I understand that the Valve Complete Pack includes all Valve made games, including the ones that haven't been made yet. But really, like, how many people, like, let's just get a show of hands. How many people here have Steam, already have Half-Life 2 somewhere in their library?
Oh, yeah, I've got almost every game in the complete pack. Aside,
Same.
of course, from the ones that don't yet exist.
Well, obviously. But it's like, as far as apologies go, or as far as compensation for apologies go, that kind of is a little smack in the face. Honestly, I would have been more inclined to say, just check your records, see who pre-ordered it. If they fall within a certain timeline that they could file a claim, just refund them the money on the device and let them keep it.
Hmm. Yeah, I suppose that's well, on an extreme level, I suppose that's sensible.
Understand that while I may be a proponent of commerce, consumerism, and capitalism, I'm also very much a person who believes in the long lost art of customer service.
Oh, of course,
And
or at least customer retention.
yes, exactly, and especially with the fact that now that there's a lot of there's a number of different game service platforms out there. Um, Good old games,
Right.
because
Exactly.
Origins
Oh
lol.
God, you said its name.
You have brought
You
the
know,
evil upon us.
you brought it upon yourselves. You're the ones who invited me on.
Oh,
There are other alternatives to Steam for getting these sort of services to the consumer.
sure. To be fair, this particular apology, like here's $100 complete pack, plus we're gonna extend your refund term on both of these items, is what I would call a good enough apology.
Sure,
It's
sure.
it's it's not
It,
perfect, but it's good
it's
enough. Like I'm not terribly mad.
fair enough. Um,
Could they have done better? Sure. Do they have to? Not really.
well, they didn't have to do jack of shit, honestly.
Exactly. So what they have already done is shown that they're more consumer friendly than a lot of people are giving them credit for.
We're looking at you in the chat.
Lol.
Valve and customer service go together like Arby's and not having diarrhea. That's a funny way of saying Del Taco.
Right.
God, I haven't had Arby's in a fuckload in a long while.
It's because I've been kind of removing them from our area. But anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Sad face.
I think that
Yeah, we
kind
gotta
of.
go all the way up to El Toro to get Arby's.
God, right.
Jesus.
Anyway, I think that kind of covers it for that particular topic.
So, moving right along to bad customer service and bad business decisions.
Folks, get those hashtags ready.
Oh no. Alright.
Okay, so this will probably be a quick one we'll gloss over, but still, it's funny because
It's senseless.
Konami's fucking still insisting that fucking Kojima is working with them.
He may not necessarily be working with them, but he's still contractually locked with them.
Well, still,
His non-compete doesn't exist or doesn't die until December.
That doesn't mean that he's still registered as an employer or employee of Konami.
Well, that's quite correct. But the results are kind of the same. Like, he can't go and find a new job until December.
Like Hideo Kojima needs to find another job before the end of December.
Honestly, he should have already started. He should have taken Fox Studios and just run with it.
He's probably going to rebuild Fox Studios once his non-competition agreement has run its course. I don't know who the fuck would be able to pick him up.
He should honestly be riding the wave of publicity starting when it first started. And that's sort of what I hate about non-compete clauses, especially ones that don't allow you to go and do your own thing outside of the grasp of another publisher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's face it. This guy and his team probably have enough money to get something started. And if not, if he had thrown up, the rest of Metal Gear Solid 5, for instance, ignoring the whole rights dispute, if he was able to throw up, a Metal Gear Solid 5 DLC that would have included the final 3 chapters,
That'd be more than just a DSL.
that shit would have been kickstarted so much harder than Star Citizen just for the people that have already, invested into the game.
Stockholm Syndrome is a hell of a fucking thing.
It really is. It really is. Like, I'm really pissed off that Metal Gear Solid 5 was as incomplete as it was. It's supposed to be a game with 5 chapters, only really had like 1.5.
In fact, I believe we got a full front of your fucking pissed off nature towards that. Words are failing me right now. We fucking got a huge example of fucking Deg getting pissed off at the whole situation, that's for sure.
Shit, I have to deal with this on the off time. Go to hang out at Deg's place. We're going to shoot the shit. He's all like, fuck Metal Gear Solid 5. This shit's not complete. Damn.
That's not too far from the truth.
It really offends me when I buy a full retail game that has incredibly positive reviews and then get shit on.
That's fair.
To be fair, though, would you have waited for the length of time that it would have taken for Kojima to put out 5 chapters? I mean, how long did Metal Gear Solid 5 take to produce?
Too long.
Okay, so we're approaching like Peter Molyneux levels, like did not finish levels.
Right, but that historically hasn't really been the case. All of the previous Metal Gear Solids felt complete.
If only because they finished telling the story, maybe.
Well, that's what I mean.
That is kind of the defining factor of Metal Gear, is just its story.
Like, there was closure involved when you finished the game. Maybe not much, but there was, hey, the game is done. here's a little bit after the credits to,
Tied you
get you
over.
ready to get you ready for the next 5 to 8 years of waiting.
Yep.
But 5 didn't have that. There was zero satisfaction in the on disc ending of 5 because it wasn't supposed to be the end. It was
Technically, y'all.
basically like Kojima ran Konami's gaming division out of money, which is the fault of both parties involved, I think.
Hmm.
I mean, how do you go and spend millions of dollars on music that you're not even putting in the game? How do you spend millions of dollars developing fucking art assets that you're only showing once and not reusing for the game?
Well, the way how I read it with the music actually was just more like Kojima just straight up actually saw the writing on the wall and was like, you know what? All right, fuck you guys. Start paying me more money, which is a dickish move in its own right, but.
Well, no, I'm sure it wasn't even that. I'm sure it was more a matter of, guys, I'm gonna need more money to finish this, and they're like, "Fuck you, we've given you 80 million already." He's like, "Yeah, but fuck you, I need more." And they're like, "You know what? Fuck you, fuck Guillermo del Toro, fuck Silent Hills, fuck Metal Gear Solid, fuck Kojima, fuck Fox Studios, fuck all of you. We're out."
I think on that note, I think we should move on from the topic.
Right.
Agreed.
So, let's kind of start getting through a couple of these because we're a little behind schedule.
Right. We started late, remember?
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, Blizzard actually is going to be introducing its own little voice system now, which I think is going to be essentially helpful.
Well,
uh,
it's
I mean-
it's about damn time.
maybe.
But at the same time, it better be good, because
Well-
it's not gonna fucking supplant TeamSpeak anytime soon.
I was just about to say the same fucking thing.
Like, if they're gonna feature some in-game voice chat, it's gonna have to be, or not in-game, in-client. If they're gonna feature some in-client voice chat, it better be good. They better use the correct codecs. They better have the bandwidth transfer capability. Like, they're going to have to do it right, because there are already services that provide dedicated servers just for voice chat.
See, here's the problem with that statement: is preparing and doing it right. Let me just think back for a moment on all the games that I've played that had a built-in voice system that was absolute garbage. And
Right.
Csoft tried it with PlanetSide 2. It was garbage.
Valve tried it with Steam. It is garbage.
Garbage. CCP tried it with EVE Online. That system is garbage. It's so garbage people don't even realize it even exists. It's
Those of us who have tried it thought, hey, the separation of all of this is kind of interesting, like being able to only talk within our own squad unless we're a leader. It was interesting, but in effect, it was garbage.
It was interesting garbage.
Mhm.
Right, exactly. It's like, hey, I can see how they were trying to follow like a chain of command scenario here, but screw that. I think I've got a better plan for this, and I can't tell the higher up. It's garbage. Oh, and the quality, of course, was garbage.
Garbage, yes.
Interesting attempt, but garbage nonetheless.
Right.
So Blizzard's really got their work cut out for them on this one.
Yeah. I mean,
And
if
it's probably going to be garbage.
yeah, I mean, I've been proven wrong. I mean, in all fairness, I have been proven wrong before. When I've said saw something that was being developed, created, whatever, and I said I'm not buying into this hype train. In fact, I'm actually going to be sipping a little bit on my haterade during the process of it being created, designed, developed, what have you. The Witcher 3 being a perfect example.
Right.
I did not buy one bit into the hype of The Witcher 3, and here I am now trying to chase the fucking hype train, trying to catch up with it.
Right.
So,
Jumping on the caboose is kind of fun.
It is. It is. It is kind of fun.
Welcome to the bandwagon. You're late. Here's your T-shirt and your Gatorade.
all right, moving on. So the next thing that we have here, and I guess it's kind of a good thing we have a Curry here because we could just revisit this topic. Another fucking game is doing one of these goddamn one life only deals, ironically called One Life.
Sure.
Ugh,
So
I'm not mad.
I
I'm
am.
I'm 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 not mad either. I like the idea.
The only thing
It's
I'm really mad at is that it's being developed by the Russians.
so my thing is that it's a better idea than it was with things like what was that one game that we were talking about a number of months ago? I believe it was
Oh
called the
god.
Flock. I believe it was called the Flock.
Yes, the flock.
Yeah.
Um, the idea of death permanency in a game is actually really novel to me. I think
Of
it's
course.
really it's neat. Um,
Right.
the problem is when you combine internet anonymous dickwad theory with death permanency, you get
You're
problems.
asking for it.
Yeah.
Now, I like the idea that they're giving people the choice.
Yes.
By which I mean, like, if you are the winner of a conflict, you basically get to decide whether or not the person you defeated lives or dies. You can like forgive, humiliate, finish them off, take everything they have. You have the
It's
choice.
yeah.
Players can also rescue and resuscitate downed friends. I'm assuming there's going to be a time limit involved.
Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting experiment. It's an interesting concept. Like I'm still going to call this more of a social experience than or a social experiment than a full on you know game, even though it's in game form.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Um,
more a matter of I'm interested to see like the metadata behind it. I'm curious to see
yeah.
how many people are the types of murderers that people paint video gamers out to be versus how many people are more of the forgiving type like man you attacked me and I won and I'm just going to take your shit and leave you going but at least you're still alive.
Yeah.
You know,
Um,
I'm curious as to the social ramifications.
Eh, I've stated before, and I'll at least give like a brief brush up for people that haven't heard it. I really don't appreciate like these whole one life only type of games just because, as Akari put it, when you bring in like anon culture and stuff like that, you're gonna run into a bunch of people that are just gonna completely grief you out of the experience, and more so, it just feels like a waste of money.
well, that's just the expression of id, and id is always going to be a fucking asshole.
Right.
The question is are you going to if given the mm, early warning, shall we say, would you be stupid enough to try to carve out your little slice of the sandbox near where Griefer Town is, or are you going to try to move the fuck away?
Well,
You
see,
know,
as a,
Well, this
it's a case of making yourself of making yourself unavailable to be griefed in this manner.
well sure, but that depends on whether or not you live long enough to get the news of who's doing what.
mm-hmm.
Because you may run into situations where you have freshly spawned and suddenly you're dead. You know,
I'd be
DayZ is a good example of that.
Oh, very much.
I'd be very surprised if that would be something that could be if that would be something that is allowed. Um, if for only because it would defeat the purpose of the game
Well,
of the
sure,
game's design. You know,
sure.
something where this area, yeah, you can die in it, but bases cannot be established within a certain perimeter area, and this area is where new people are want to spawn.
Well, sure, but then we got to talk more about the game design. Like, are there log in and log off limits? Like, if you sign out and you're right near a spawn area, do you get pushed out to a specific radius where you have to, like, hoof your ass back in? Like, exactly how does that work? If you log off, does it just leave your body sleeping there in the middle of nowhere?
Who knows?
Which is honestly likely the case, especially with how we've been having a bunch of other sandbox type games lately.
Sure,
Rust would be,
Rust.
yep, Rust.
Just about to say Rust.
Yeah.
sure. And I mean that's all sensible, but at the same time, we don't really know how they're going to handle it. It could just be the next best thing since sliced bread, given that there is actual risk to death.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's worry behind it, and that's an emotional impact that most games simply fail to provide. It's like,
Yeah.
oops, I died. I guess I'll just reload. Whereas in this, it's more like, oh god, I better not die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just
You know,
still
it's
deter.
it's it's it might be a deterrent for those weaker of will, but I am very curious about this game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what? What was it? Uncle Dag says, "Vote with your wallet, folks."
Hmm.
Join me on this one. Don't do it,
Lol.
because
Lol.
I really want this fucking trend to end.
Do it. Get the game.
Get absolutely, by all means, get the game.
If you're interested in more than just the status quo, the rut that gaming has fallen into, let's get some more original ideas. Let's get some more interest in the psychological impact that games could eventually have.
God, you
Let's
just.
get more investment, not less.
Oh God, you just made me realize this could even cause more harm overall. But that's for a topic on another day.
Perhaps for the Tumblerinas that attach their entire fucking being to their character.
That was exactly where I was going.
Well, good for you. Die.
Oh God, I just got to deal with more of those fucking assholes. Anyway, all right, I gotta move on from this. I need to cheer myself up. Let's talk Fallout.
All right. What are we going to talk about? Are we going to talk about some bad news or some worse news?
Well, okay, how about we start with the bad news because it makes me feel a little good that I don't care that much about consoles these days.
Okay. So, Fallout 4 runs at a quote unquote solid 30 FPS on consoles. On consoles. I suppose that's somewhat reasonable. Consoles are limited in their processing capability.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of expect console gaming to be locked around 30 FPS for a great majority of the titles. And at the same point, thank God the game's coming on PC as well.
Yep.
Hopefully they're not going to soft lock it like they did with Skyrim.
I'm actually surprised you consider that to be the bad news. My bad news would be that the fucking Deathclaws can actually dodge bullets.
Well, you better carry more bullets.
Like, guy linked a GIF in the beginning of the show.
Right. The Deathclaw's not dodging all of those, but it is juking pretty hard.
Yeah, that's very sad news to me.
Oh, I wish I could.
Sure,
I wish I could put
that's-
that up on the hitbox right now.
Because that's a lot of bullets.
I do like the idea of a more frightening AI.
I'm sorry, but Deathclaws are already frightening as they are. Thank you very much.
I like the idea that this Deathclaw is not just leaping over the sandbags or lunging straight for you and whacking you in the head immediately. I like that it's zigzagging on its approach. It's very destroyer-like in World of Warships. I'm amused.
I'm gonna.
It's fucking terrifying, is what it is.
Well,
Like you're pumping lead at me. I have one of two options. Excuse me, I've got one of three options. I can either A, take cover. I can B, advance in the fashion that this Deathclaw is doing. I can C, run straight at you and absorb bullets to the dome until I die before I even get within striking range of you. I kind of like the enemies being a little bit more smart in their advance.
Yeah, I think Alien Isolation had one of the greatest fucking systems for the alien.
Well,
That it was not scripted.
it was smart
Right.
and it fucking knew
Right.
shit.
it was also nowhere near as terrifying once you found a flamethrower.
You say that, but you could only do the flamethrower so many times.
Well, sure, but each time you needed it, it would be available unless you were trying to be Rambo and actually burn it down.
Aaron.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Anyway, hang on. Let me see if I can get this image to show up on the Hitbox chat so that way we can get people to see. Nope. Damn it.
No?
Fail. Well,
Fail.
here we go. We'll post that up here. And we'll throw it here for the Twitch audience to check it out.
Oh, the
They-
Twitch audience already saw it.
Did they stop, did Hitbox stop the GIF overlay? Or
I
is it
think
just because it's a GIF feed and it doesn't know what to do?
Yeah, that probably could be the situation, which
Alright.
is unfortunate.
Fair enough.
Here you go,
Yeah.
just in case anybody else came by. Didn't see
Right.
it. There you go. And I'll post it up in the YouTube description as well.
Right, but getting back to it, like 30 FPS on consoles, honestly, if this game is anywhere near as big as we're expecting, I'm not even remotely surprised. Yes,
Yeah.
it's bad news, but at the same time, I'm going to own this game on PC.
Yeah.
There is some secondary fallout to that,
Okay.
not entirely intended. So the discs that you're going to get for the PC, like if you're looking for a physical copy of the game,
Fuck it.
you're still going to end up having to download the majority of the game's content through Steam.
Uh-huh.
And they gave a one-word answer as to why this is the case, and the one-word answer was piracy.
Piracy.
Yeah, I think Bethesda's kind of missing the point on this one. And instead of learning from CDPR and just being like, yeah, all this shit's DRM free, so when you buy it, it's yours forever and ever. What Bethesda has basically done is, yeah, so even if you buy the physical copy of this game, when Steam shuts down, because it is inevitable that Steam is just not going to last forever.
Yeah.
So when Steam eventually shuts down, you'll never be able to play the game again. And that is, that is an argument for pirating the game, not against it. Really, all they're doing to thwart piracy is they're pausing the piracy release by a day. Because there's going to be someone out there that's downloading the full game content and then cracking it all together and uploading the complete thing. Like maybe an entire 24 hours after the game comes out. Probably not. So all they're really doing is just harming the consumer. Again, they're punishing the people that are paying them for the game instead of allowing everyone to own the game that they've already paid for.
What I'm more amazed by is the lack of what's the word I want to use? Professionalism
Sure.
that the vice president of public relations and marketing for Bethesda, Pete Hines, had said. He's been quite snarky. I wouldn't say snarky. I would say very, very brief in his explanations of this. And I mean, granted, I know we're talking about Twitter, 147 characters. That's, War and Peace. What?
Right. Sure.
But
Sure. But at the same time,
there was an individual who had stated that he plans to pass on Fallout 4 because he doesn't have a Steam account, nor does he want to make one. Hines offered up a curt "okay" in response. Like,
sure. And I suppose that's all he really could have said about it. I mean, at this point, this guy has basically told him, I'm not your customer. And he's basically like, well, great, good for you.
well, it's more a case as he's told him he's not going to be a customer and why.
Sure. And that's not going to change the plan because you're just one dude.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the feel that I get out of it. It's like, yeah, you don't matter.
By the way, I think we all should kind of look over at Ari and Hitbox for a second.
Oh, what's up?
I think he's basically asking right now if someone actually mods the Fallout armor to look like a Space Marine, would that be good or bad?
Oh, that depends on whether or not you dig on the aesthetic of a Space Marine and whether or not it's going to fit in Fallout. Personally, I would say it would be bad, but that's because I like the power armor more than I dig on Space Marine stuff.
I'm sorry, but doesn't the Enclave already look like the Space Marines?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, but not really.
Well, it looks
Kind
a
of, but
hell of
not
a lot.
really.
It looks a hell of a lot more like Space Marine than it does T-41D.
Yeah, it needs some more rounded bits on the helmets and all. Colors.
Well, obviously.
It
But I
needs more
mean,
blue.
blue in my Fallout? Not today.
Uh,
Right? I need gray and brown.
No, I'm just waiting for the NPC's response because this is fucking delayed. I know he's gonna say something fucking akin to it all because
Right.
he's a goddamn space smurf.
Um, he's just a Smurf.
Fair.
No, no. In all honesty, he's more of a Space Wolf player. I just wanted to get his just
Oh,
rattle his cage a little.
he'd rather have a Mark 1 Iron Man suit.
Right. But I do have a bit of an issue with the physical copy of Fallout 4 being incomplete. It's kind of not cool. I mean, I can see what they're trying to do. It's just not going to work.
Yeah,
It's just not going to work. It's what it feels like is that they're encouraging more people to pirate copies of the game just so they can have it as, like a backup.
yeah. Fortunately, though, there is one thing Fallout related that cannot be pirated.
Yeah, let's get into this one. This is interesting.
So, for all
So,
of you who are over 21,
LOL. And in the UK somewhere.
um, there is a Fallout beer.
Right. Mind you, it's a Fallout beer made by Carlsberg. It's not even really a tie-in. It's just a beer with a Fallout label on it.
I'm not really sure what else to really say on this. It's just like
I don't know. I mean, it's radioactive green. That's pretty Fallouty.
Well, the bottles are.
Um,
But in the interest of the point that I think Carlsberg has made here, I think the best thing I can really pull out of this article is that finally somebody somewhere decided that video gaming is something that adults do as well.
yeah.
Then again, depending on your location, because I mean, like, what age do you need to be to drink in the United Kingdom? Like 18?
yeah, pretty much. Pretty sure that is correct.
Well, that's a young adult at their standards, isn't it?
Still a teenager in my book.
Yeah.
Shit, anything under 30 is a fucking underage in my book.
Are you over 30? Yeah, you are.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am, old man.
Yeah, barely.
Oh, fuck me. I'm gonna turn into you old bastards.
Well, I'll try not to spoil it for you.
You could only hope so much.
Oh, man.
Uh,
So, this kind of got me wondering, though. Okay, so they're basically saying that the taste of this particular Fallout beer is actually going to be very hoppy. I'm guessing that's actually going to be something more of an IPA at that point.
Negative.
They're including a zesty, hoppy taste and a floral aroma.
The
I'm not sure how IPA you're gonna have with a beer that's got
A floral,
4% ABV.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that it's a Pilsner.
Right. So I mean, it's gonna be more of a Budweiser.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
definitely going to be piss watery.
Well, easy to drink, I think, is what they're looking for.
Yeah,
Like easy to chug.
yeah.
That would kind of even make sense more for the whole Fallout theme.
Well, right. Considering that in Fallout, you pound a bottle of vodka in a quarter of a second.
Yeah.
Depending
You
on frame rate, at least.
Sure. I'll give you that. On consoles, it might take half a second.
Them dirty frames, though.
I kind of hope that somewhere along the line we can get Coca-Cola to actually release like a Nuka-Cola brand.
They did. It was called New Coke. It was bad.
It was very bad.
Really? Would you consider that to be the same as Nuka-Cola?
Yes.
I suppose.
Because I've honestly been kind of wondering to myself, especially before the show, how would Nuka-Cola taste like? And to be honest, I'm kind of leaning more towards the RC Cola.
It would taste like chemotherapy, is what it would taste like.
The question that I've got is, was it irradiated before or after the apocalyptic events?
Good question.
Before, absolutely before.
Like, do you think that was part of the sales point? Like, hey, drink this, get yourself another finger.
Yeah, actually, I think it was.
I kind of want to see the advertising campaign for something like that.
Protect your children from radiation poisoning.
Like, I want to see the Super Bowl commercials of that. Oh, please, someone out there listening, make this a thing.
Oh, God.
Mr. Huddy here, bringing you Nuka-Cola.
Lol.
Oh, man. All right, so Before we go ahead and get into our last story, we've had Seawall messaging me saying he wanted to kind of call in.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and bring him on for a second.
okay.
All right.
And let me change the topic right now to calls, because we take them, folks. And you want to know how you too can get a hold of us? By reaching us at our Skype account at GoodGameGuys1.
Right. There's also a button there, like right there, right underneath the video.
You guys had to call me while I'm cooking dinner.
Hey, you were the one saying you want to come on the air, man.
During the planet-based discussion.
Well, you know how we kind of do things. We kind of work them in towards the end of the show. So,
True.
go ahead. Start telling us what you think about Planet Base. See if you can convince these two better than I can, because to be honest, I do kind of suck at winning them over and things.
You'll get no argument from me.
Good
Fair point.
concept needs a lot of work.
All right, that sounds reasonable. That sounds like what I was expecting.
The biggest problem with Planet Base is if you get really unlucky at night and you didn't build a shitload of batteries,
Yeah.
you run out of power and you're dead.
Oh, great. So Five Nights at Freddy's. Excellent.
Pretty much. You can survive for short periods of time without power, and if you got enough wind turbines, you know, a little bit of wind will keep it going, but I think someone put it best. Build 2 to 3 times as much power as you think you need.
All right.
That's a lot of metal.
Okay.
So
still
when you start, what you need to do is have a whole shit ton, like an entire mining fleet, if you will.
More like you build, I think it's the large solar panel, the small solar panel, large wind turbine, and a battery backup, and live off of that for a while.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Make sure to have a fuckload of metal production.
So that's where I was coming in with the mining fleet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I can definitely back that up, because that's one of the issues I found myself kind of going back to an autosave, is because, oh shit, I didn't compensate for this low amount of power. The gods of the wind have turned against me.
They need to add like a nuclear reactor or a fusion reactor or something. Or a mod will do it, because they're talking about setting up some sort of integration with Steam Workshop.
Okay.
I would definitely love to see some future mods for that game. Like, I agree with Seawall. It definitely has its potential, and I stick to it because I still have fun with it. Just because it serves my needs of setting up, like, the Sim type of game. Like a Sim City type of game, I should say.
Well, also, if you remember Banished at all,
Yes.
this AI can rival it for being retards.
Yes!
That's
Oh, God.
pretty fucking impressive, actually.
It's getting better. They have been very quickly, I think within 5 days of release, they updated the AI.
I can attest to how retarded the AI can be. So, on my super base that I had set up on Mars, I was going to remove one of the sleeping facilities and start expanding on that area to, you know, set up more areas for people to sleep in, entertain themselves and stuff like that, right? So, for whatever reason, my colonists decide to go to the airlock that's the opposite side of where I'm trying to build, walking completely around the base. Mind you, I have an airlock right next to where I need them to be. And they just go completely around like a long way, carrying all these resources out. Maybe not even just carrying the resource, just getting out of that airlock just to go into another airlock.
Yo, Dad, I heard you like airlocks.
And the shitty part is, like, while they're out in the planet, they're in an EAV suit, or EVA suit? EVA suit, which has limited oxygen.
Alright.
They tend to suffocate.
Yeah, that sounds
that's
like bad AI pathing.
Hey,
What?
Dr. Captain, you haven't heard the horror stories of the trading system yet.
Oh,
I've
please
had
tell.
people starve to death bringing supplies to a trade ship.
Oh, God.
Because they drop everything and go immediately to moving shit.
That's right.
Hey, Dig, I'm just curious. This is totally making you want to buy this, isn't it?
It is totally not.
As I've said before, at least the developers are really responsive and have been working tirelessly to get this shit up to date. I think they did like 3 patches inside of 4 days.
Uh-huh.
And I hate to say it, I don't know what you guys' opinion on early releases, but this is a game that probably could have done an early release like a month or 2 ago, and would have been able to iron out these issues. This is one of those few games that could do early release and be successful.
I could agree with that.
They could have also released a beta test
Yeah,
They did for 100 people.
that you won't have to pay to get into.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm kind of anti early release as a general
Yeah.
principle because of the fact that I'm testing your fucking game and you expect me to pay for it? F you.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it.
Actually, what I'm getting from some of the old notices that it gave out 100 free beta keys for
A
first come
hundred.
first serve. Yeah,
A
100.
hundred.
yeah.
Mhm.
It wasn't much, but hey, it's harkening back to the day when betas were free.
Yeah. Wow. Look at the Steam reviews. Not recommended. Not recommended. Not recommended. Not recommended.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is it that bad?
Let's see. What's their overall? It's mostly positive at 76%
Yeah.
of the 806 user reviews. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Yeah, fair enough.
As I said, wait for the AI to get. As I'm kind of thinking, wait for the AI to get better, then and then wait for them to build a fucking nuclear reactor in this game. Because god damn it, those solar and wind powers piss me off.
Right.
You would never
So-
run a space colony like this, like that.
So I've been completely convinced to not purchase this game. Thanks.
For now.
For now, yes, indeed. Ah, well.
Hey, for some of us it scratches an itch. Other people it doesn't.
Fair enough.
Good bully for you then.
But yeah. Also, I heard you guys talking about what was it? Star Citizen for a little while. Can I officially declare it Eve 2.0?
No, because Eve was released and it is an actual game.
True.
There's that.
Just saying.
There's that.
Yeah. And oh god, I don't know how true the rumors are around Star Citizen, but if they're true, that they burned through almost all that money, that
Oh,
guy's
if-
toast
if-
in the
if-
industry.
If they haven't burned through all that money that they procured by now, I would actually be more worried.
Well, no, I
I'm
heard they
kind of
burned
on
through all the
the
money
fence
and they're
about that.
nowhere near complete.
Yeah, there's
Well, given how many people they have working for them, how long ago did they initially have this Kickstarter? You know, just those two things alone.
Given that in the past, year or so, they've been constantly and consistently expanding. I
Yeah.
I don't quite think that they're out of money. I think they're coming up against the issue where they're
The Peter
becoming
Molyneux
out
factor.
of. Yeah, exactly. They're about to be out of time before they're going to start getting unfavorable comparisons, like being called the Peter Molyneux of the 2015.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, even though, it's a cool concept of a completely fan-funded game. With someone like him, he who's making this game? I keep forgetting his name.
Christopher
Chris
Roberts.
Roberts.
Yeah, Chris Roberts. He's one of those guys that has so much ambition that he has to be underneath a publisher, keeping his feet to the fire, or he does this.
Well, isn't that why Robert Space Industries and Cloud Imperium Games are two different companies?
Yeah.
So I mean, there is that. There's obviously pressure coming up from on high, or at least from a board somewhere.
Yeah. But I'm talking
But-
more like EA breathing down his neck kind of stuff. The big
No,
boys
no, no,
that
no,
will
no,
burn them.
no.
I'm not
No.
saying EA should have it, but a big company that could breathe down his neck.
You know what?
Just said EA should have it.
You know
No,
what?
I said that a company the size of EA, like the big boys.
You know what though? I
Right.
will say
I
this
misspoke,
much:
sorry.
at least EA would have published a fucking game.
Yes.
And it would have been dog shit.
Hmm.
I'm willing to wait a little bit longer for a fun experience.
It is still going to be
I
worth
don't-
seeing the news that turns out with Star Citizen, especially with some of the whole Derek Smart situation.
Yeah, I think until paperwork is actually filed and a lawsuit is in progress, there's really no point in giving Derek Smart any more free press. Like, let him do his thing. If he ends up being right, that's the point where we should tout it. Otherwise, we're just blowing smoke up this guy's ass, much to his enjoyment.
Hmm.
Because we don't really know for certain. None of us were there. He claims to have been there, and Roberts says that, yeah, this guy was fired for being incompetent. So there's that,
Yeah.
Could just be a jilted former employee.
We'll definitely see the progress of that when it eventually totes its head again.
Exactly. Up until that point, I'm kind of more curious about the game itself.
Well, the
You
thing
know?
is, I've just got this feeling that because of how big I mean, have you heard how big some of those guilds are now?
Oh
Like
shit.
dozens or even hundreds of those of the biggest ships in game. They've already won. They paid and they won. They're going to have almost complete control over this galaxy. It's going to be exactly like Eve. The small
Well,
independent
that's
guys are not going to be able to get very far.
you say that, but I mean the universe is going to be quite large. It's going to be quite large.
And I mean, you say that the big guys win in EVE Online. I can give you excellent evidence to the contrary.
There are a number of instances where, maybe not the biggest groups, but some of the
Smartest.
smaller bordering on large groups
Yeah.
have been completely disassembled by one person.
You know, Ikari, we have a little time remaining. Do you want to go ahead and provide some of those examples for a moment, and then we're gonna have to let you go, Seawall, to finish up.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, Seawall. We
So, one of the tactics that I used to fly with goons in EVE Online, Gurgons,
Gons, hat gons.
yeah, whatever. Crime War, Space Fighter. Um, one of the things that would really instill fear in a roaming gang would be a technique that was developed by a group called the Rooks and Kings called the pipe bomb.
Lol.
Pipe bombing was getting about I'd say maybe 11 or 12 people together, 10 of them decked out in battleships loaded with nothing but smart bombs of a particular type. Um, what they would basically do is wait for a roaming gang to come around and trapdoor spider them. They would have somebody that would tackle all of them, prevent them from escaping, fleeing, and then this group of 10 people would suddenly appear in the middle of the enemy's fleet and unleash holy hell.
Oh God.
To the tune of like hula hoops of doom, right?
Yeah, to the tune of Disco Armageddon. You got about 10 disco balls all spinning brightly, shining, blowing your shit up, and leaving you with not a fucking thing you could do about it. And they were really good at what they did. And like I
Right.
said, it would take only like 10, 11, 12 people to take down a group of 50, 60, 70, 80.
Right?
Damn.
Yeah, no,
Because,
it was.
you know,
It's
So,
kind
so,
of a
so
thing.
this is the ultimate troll tactic.
There's no limit to
no,
what
it's-
gets stuck in a bubble.
No, it's not a troll tactic. It is the ultimate. It is one of the best examples of guerrilla warfare.
Not true.
Not to mention home system defense. You set this shit up at all of your entry points, and nobody's coming in without suffering some pretty excessive losses.
Uh-huh. And I mean, I've known people that will. There was one particular person who could literally commanded an entire fleet by himself. By
Lol.
that I mean he had 50, count them, 50 characters logged in, all of them in stealth bombers.
He
Oh,
effectively
God.
had 50 accounts on multi-box.
Uh-huh. And he would blow the shit out of anything that he decided needed to die.
I mean, I
Right.
heard that stealth bombers should be powerful, but they only worked well in like wolfpack tactics.
Well, this is a 50-member strong wolf pack,
Yeah, I know.
and entirely done by one dude.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
know,
that's a lot of accounts to keep active.
Yeah, it's
That's
a lot of money.
That's a whole lot of plex.
Ikari, I'm listening to this, and I can't help but just like view this as like some sort of a History Channel recreation right now.
Nah, this is like what you would see on the commercials. Shit that goons would end up on History Channel. Oh shit! I just jumped my Titan instead of bridging it. Oh god!
Well, I didn't want that Titan anyway.
Suddenly, 24 hours later, the tale of BTAC-R is made known to the universe.
So I think we need to actually create like a whole new segment for Ikari, just like historical moments of like just stupid shit in like MMOs. Because I know you're chock full of them, Ikari.
Oh God,
I
I'm
can-
remembering
I-
some
I-
of the some
I
of my
can-
stories with Star Wars Galaxies.
I can neither confirm nor deny my knowledge of this matter.
All I gotta say about EVE Online is real men Plex tank.
Anyway, all right, we gotta let you go, Seawall.
Okay. So you.
Lates.
Take it easy.
Alrighty. So let's go ahead and start wrapping things up since we are again a little on the late side, folks.
Right.
And I'm hungry, damn it.
Yeah, me too.
So let's get into our last little story that I kind of get a nice little chuckle out of. Well, I guess it's a double story since Ikari actually has a follow-up thing he wants to bring up along with this.
Yeah.
So Japan is actually going to get its first real-life Pokemon gym. Mostly just for like a convention that's going on, or expo convention. They're both one and the same, right?
Why are the Japanese so weird? You
Because
can't still blame radiation, can you?
Well,
the
you
hell
can't.
you can.
Yeah,
The hell you
dude.
can.
The
Absolutely.
tsunami,
And
man.
They got a triple dose. They got Hiroshima, they got Fukushima, and then they got Nagasaki. Not necessarily in that order.
Yeah, alright.
Oh, I guess we should probably bring up the thing the NPC is talking about real quick. Harmonix actually tried to boost their copy, or not copy, their game Rock Band 4 on Amazon through reviews.
They tried to boost it? What do you mean?
Well, they tried to give it like a positive review.
Oh, okay. Well, fucking everybody does that, though. That's not
Yeah.
new. When you upload a YouTube video, you click on the like button, don't you? On your own video?
I guess that's fair, yeah.
One does not simply like their own status.
One always likes their own status.
Oh man. Anyway, Ikari, you said you had something to bring up along with the
Yeah.
Pokemon story, though.
So, just touching on this thing, the Pokemon Gym that's being released next month will be featuring training programs like Charizard's Battle Coliseum and Gardevoir's Control Score, and participants can earn rewards that include special Pokemon for the sixth generation games. That's actually kind of interesting to me, considering I do play that game. I haven't picked it up in a while, but I still do consider myself to be a player of the game. The follow-up, or the tie-in, if you will, is the fact that the new game that everybody has been touting as being the next greatest thing since sliced white bread, Pokken Tournament, has been doing so badly that arcades are pulling the physical machines from their business establishments. Reviewers have been saying, Japanese commenters are generally tearing into the game, saying things like, only 10 characters, no boss, therefore it's shit, or, quote, boring, or even simply just using a Japanese slang term, kusage, which means a shit game.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, was this the mixture of Pokemon and Tekken?
Yes.
Yes, this was the Pokemon fighting game.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's basically like Tekken with irritating little creatures throwing fireballs everywhere?
Or, Macho Man Randy Savage in his heyday trying to seismic toss you.
That's fucking terrible. We didn't all know, but I knew this was going to be pretty bad when it was announced.
Well, it's the fact that Bandai is involved in this, in my opinion. I mean,
Right.
The last time Bandai Namco made a good game was, let me think here, this may take me a while. Oh, right, never.
Lol.
It's just that this game is so bad, it's literally in the red.
Yikes.
And I mean, you also have to consider the Japanese mentality about this, in that 9 times out of 10, the Japanese won't say shit if they got a mouthful of it. So for a popular arcade in Kurashiki City in the Okayama Prefecture called Fantasia Arcade, for them to make public tweets and blog about them removing the cabinet from their business, that's pretty fucking bad.
Like, didn't Bandai Namco do, like, Tekken and...
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Tekken's actually pretty good.
Not nearly as good as the fighters of old.
Well, like what? Because I mean, the first Titan
Like,
is kind of a fighter of old.
uh, no, sir. I'm calling Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 1, Eternal Champions. Those are good fighting games of old.
I see.
Like, when I say old, I mean old.
All right.
Anyway, so this about wraps up this week's episode, and thank God we managed to get it out there, right?
All right.
Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for sticking with us through some of the situations. Still kind of working out the new current topic section. Kind of missed out a few things here and there. It's a new thing. I'm definitely gonna be trying to improve on.
Right.
But folks, again, thank you for sticking around. Feel free to hit the follow button down there below on the Twitch stream if you're listening live right now, or the hitbox. Or if you're listening to us on YouTube right now, please, by all means, hit the subscribe and the like button. I do appreciate that very much. You guys, don't you appreciate that?
Eh? What?
I'm sorry. Say something?
God damn it, guys.
Robot dick.
There you go. Hey, if you want this man to have his robot dick, you need to hit that thumbs up button right now.
Lol. I'm pretty sure he's gonna have that robot dick, despite whether or not we ask him to.
Better
And
be
it-
paying more than Robot Dick does.
Oh well.
In any case, buttons all around. It's on the screen. Take you to Facebook, all that stuff. Follow us there. We give updates. We give news. Even
Just
other
click that shit
videos.
and be done with it.
Pretty
I'm
much.
pretty sure you're already aware of it. It's right there, down underneath the video. It's hard to miss.
Anyway, with that said, this is Dr. Captain.
Hey, I'm Dag.
I'm Doug.
And this is the Good Game Guys saying, good game, everyone!
Lates.